On August 11, 2025, a sunny afternoon in Austin turned tragic. A routine Target run on Research Boulevard became the site of a devastating shooting, shattering the city's sense of safety. Families shopping for back-to-school supplies were caught in chaos as gunshots rang out, panic spreading instantly. The attack struck at the heart of the community, transforming a familiar place into a scene of fear and loss. First responders rushed in, but 3 lives were lost, and countless others were forever changed. The city was left reeling, searching for answers and mourning together. This was a day Austin will never forget, a day that began with hope and ended in heartbreak. On a seemingly ordinary afternoon, the Target parking lot was filled with the usual hum of activity. It was 2:15 p.m., a time when families, friends, and individuals from all walks of life were going about their daily routines, unaware that their lives were about to change forever. The violence erupted without warning, shattering the sense of safety that so many take for granted in such familiar places. The lot was bustling with shoppers, parents loading groceries into their cars, children laughing, and people chatting on their phones. It was a snapshot of everyday life, a place where no one expected danger to strike. Suddenly, chaos erupted. A gunman opened fire, sending people scrambling for cover, behind cars, into stores, and anywhere they could find safety. The sound of gunshots echoed across the lot, mingling with screams and the screech of tires as drivers tried to flee. The randomness of the attack was chilling. There was no warning, no time to react. Victims were ordinary people, mothers, fathers, friends, caught in the wrong place at the wrong time. In an instant, a routine shopping trip became a fight for survival. Emergency crews arrived within minutes, their sirens piercing the chaos. Paramedics rushed to help the wounded, working desperately to save lives. Despite their efforts, 2 victims died at the scene, and a third succumbed to injuries later at the hospital. The tragedy unfolded so quickly that many struggled to comprehend what had just happened. Another person was treated for injuries sustained in the chaos, their life forever altered by the events of that day. The physical wounds were only part of the story. The emotional scars would linger for everyone who witnessed the attack. Police quickly cordoned off the area, transforming a place of routine errands into a crime scene. Yellow tape fluttered in the breeze and officers stood guard, their faces grim as they worked to secure the scene and comfort those affected. Detectives began the painstaking process of piecing together what happened. Abandoned shopping bags and scattered belongings lay where they had fallen, silent witnesses to the chaos. The flashing lights of police vehicles illuminated the scene, casting long shadows as investigators searched for answers. The attack lasted only minutes, but its impact will be felt for years. As dusk settled over the empty parking lot, the sense of loss was palpable. The community was left reeling, struggling to process the senseless violence that had shattered their peace. In the days that followed, Austin came together to mourn. Mourners left flowers and messages at a growing memorial, and candlelight vigils were held to honor the victims. The city was left to grapple with the aftermath, searching for comfort and answers in the wake of tragedy. At the heart of this tragedy are the 3 lives lost, community members with families, dreams, and futures stolen in an instant. Their identities remain private, but their absence is deeply felt. Each victim had plans for the day, hopes for the future, and loved ones now left to mourn. The community grieves not just for the individuals, but for the futures they'll never see. The pain is personal for many in Austin, a reminder that tragedy can strike anywhere. Support pours in for the families as neighbors come together to offer comfort and solidarity. We honor their memory by remembering the humanity behind the headlines. Austin stands united in grief, determined to support those left behind. Attention quickly turned to the suspect, a 32-year-old man with a known history of mental health issues. While not an excuse, this detail adds complexity and raises questions about gaps in mental health care and support. The motive remains unclear, deepening the community's unease. Investigators are now piecing together the suspect's background, searching for warning signs and possible triggers. The attack appeared random, making it even more terrifying for Austin residents. The focus is on justice, but also on understanding how such tragedies can be prevented. The city is left to reflect on broader societal failures and the urgent need for solutions. The chaos didn't end with the shooting. The suspect fled, stealing a victim's car and speeding away, only to crash it nearby. Undeterred, he stole another vehicle from a dealership, leading police on a citywide manhunt. The pursuit ended 20 miles south, where officers cornered and subdued him with a taser. His reckless escape endangered more lives, compounding the trauma of the day. The swift police response prevented further tragedy and brought relief to a city on edge. With the suspect in custody, the focus shifted to justice and healing. The community could finally begin to process the day's events. The ordeal underscored both the danger and the resilience of Austin. The terror of that day lives on in the stories of those who were there. For many, the memories remain vivid, etched into their minds by the shock and confusion that swept through the community. The sounds of sirens, the shouts of police, and the cries of frightened bystanders created a chaotic symphony that no one present will ever forget. Paul Smith, working at a nearby Jiffy Lube, saw panic erupt as people ran for their lives. He remembers the moment when the first wave of terrified shoppers burst from the store, some clutching children, others desperately searching for loved ones. Paul's heart pounded as he realized the gravity of the situation unfolding just outside his workplace. He and his co-workers locked the doors, sheltering customers as chaos unfolded outside. Inside, people huddled together, some whispering prayers, others frantically checking their phones for updates. The uncertainty was overwhelming, but Paul and his team did their best to keep everyone calm, offering water and words of reassurance as they waited for news. Lonnie Lee, who had shopped at Target hours earlier, returned to find a crime scene, shaken by how close she'd come to danger. She described the surreal feeling of seeing the familiar parking lot transformed by flashing lights and police tape, realizing that a place she visited every week had become the center of a tragedy. These first-hand accounts reveal the randomness and fear that gripped the community. No one could have predicted the events of that day, and the shockwaves rippled through every corner of Austin. People who had simply gone out to shop or work suddenly found themselves at the heart of a crisis. Survivors helped each other, securing stores and offering comfort amid confusion. Strangers became allies, sharing information and support as they waited for the all-clear. In those tense moments, the community's resilience shone through, as people reached out to help those around them, even as fear lingered in the air. Their stories are a vital part of the healing process, reminding us of the human cost behind the headlines. Each account adds a layer of understanding to the tragedy, giving voice to the pain, confusion, and bravery experienced by ordinary people caught in extraordinary circumstances. The trauma lingers, but so does the courage and compassion shown in those moments. Acts of kindness, whether a comforting hug, a shared phone call, or a helping hand, became lifelines for many. These gestures, though small, helped people begin to process what had happened and start the long journey toward healing. Eyewitnesses are not just bystanders, they are survivors, helping Austin remember and recover. Their willingness to share their experiences, even when painful, has brought the community closer together. Through interviews, vigils, and conversations, they have become the storytellers of this tragedy, ensuring that the lessons and memories endure. Their voices ensure the tragedy is never forgotten. By speaking out, they honor those lost and inspire hope for a safer, more united future. The community's strength is reflected in their words, and their courage lights the path forward for all of Austin. In the aftermath, Austin's leaders spoke with sorrow and resolve. Police Chief Lisa Davis called it a very sad day, offering condolences and reassurance to a shaken city. Mayor Kirk Watson condemned the violence, calling it a cowardly act and pledging support for the victims' families. Their words brought comfort and unity, helping residents process grief and fear. City officials highlighted the professionalism of first responders and the importance of community solidarity. Their leadership set the tone for healing, emphasizing compassion and resilience. Austin's leaders became the voice of a grieving city, promising justice and support. The recent shooting in Austin is not an isolated incident. It is part of a deeply troubling national pattern, one where public spaces, once considered safe havens for families and friends, are increasingly transformed into sites of violence and fear. Parks, shopping centers, and city streets, places meant for gathering and community, have become the backdrop for tragedy, leaving lasting scars on the people who live, work, and play there. Just weeks earlier, a stabbing at a Michigan Walmart left 11 people injured, sending shockwaves through the community and underscoring the growing threat to everyday places. These incidents are not confined to one city or state. They are happening across the country, in locations that should feel ordinary and safe. The randomness of these attacks makes them all the more terrifying, as anyone, anywhere, can suddenly become a victim. Each new attack erodes our collective sense of safety and forces communities to confront difficult, often painful questions about how to prevent future tragedies. Families gather at memorials, neighbors comfort one another, and entire towns are left grappling with grief and uncertainty. The emotional toll is immense, and the fear lingers long after the headlines fade. The randomness and frequency of such violence spark urgent debates on gun control, mental health resources, and the effectiveness of public safety measures. Town halls fill with anxious residents demanding answers, while experts and lawmakers argue over solutions. The conversation is complex, but the need for action is clear. For Austin, this tragedy is no longer an abstract headline. It's personal, immediate, and devastating. The city mourns together, united in shock and sorrow, as residents gather at vigils and memorials to honor those lost and support one another through the pain. Breaking this cycle of violence requires action on many fronts: improving access to mental health care, building stronger support systems within our communities, and enacting common-sense safety measures that protect everyone. It means coming together to address the root causes and refusing to accept this pattern as the new normal. The burden of these tragedies is national, but the pain is deeply local. Every community touched by violence carries the weight of loss, and every family affected is forever changed. Austin's loss is a call to action for all of us, a reminder that we must work together to reclaim our public spaces, support one another, and demand meaningful change. In the days after the shooting, Austin came together in grief. Vigils and memorials appeared near the target, as residents left flowers, candles, and notes to honor the victims. The healing process will be long, especially for families and survivors. Community leaders and organizations are offering support, counseling, and resources to help people cope. Amid sorrow, Austin's spirit shines, neighbors supporting each other, strangers offering comfort, and resilience growing from tragedy. The focus is on honoring the victims and rebuilding trust and safety. Austin's strength lies in its unity and compassion. Together, the city mourns, heals, and remembers those lost.